another very key issue, and this is free speech. I never thought we'd be having the conversations we've been having in this last year about all the rights that have been taken away from us, and certainly the right of protest has been taken away from us, and we haven't even got the right of free speech right now in universities. Poll after poll of people at universities, students and those academics who work there, and indeed people invited to speak there, will feel that they can't speak freely their views, even if they are mainstream views on issues like Brexit, or someone voting Tory will find that actually they feel that their career will be assaultified, that they may lose their job, they face repercussions, or even in the case of those guest speakers face no platforming simply for giving a point of view that is not apparently a part of the perceived orthodoxy of those at university. Well, one of the many bills in the Queen's speech yesterday was placing new legal duties on not just university authorities but also student unions for the first time in England to ensure free speech on campus. Let's talk to Bryn Harris, who's the Free Speech Union's Chief Legal Counsel, who joins us. Good morning to you, Bryn.
Morning, Gillian.
I imagine you've been rather busy in the last year or so since the Free Speech Union was set up. I have to say here at this point, I am a member of the Free Speech Union and actually a part of an advisory committee board of some sort, just in terms of fighting for the rights of free speech. So I must declare that interest there. It is an extraordinary thing for us in Britain in the 21st century to need to have a law to protect the right of freedom of speech at university. I couldn't imagine this being an issue when I was at university around 1990.
No, and it certainly has changed very rapidly, and it's difficult to say exactly where it's come from. I think the important thing isn't to spend too much time sort of doing the sociological analysis as to where this has come from. I think what needs to be done is to put it right.
Yeah.
To get universities to do what they should be doing by law, and also to fulfill something that's fundamental to their purpose, and that is to be places where people can explore their thoughts, they can express what they think, and they can argue and have fun and joke and do all the things that we expect students to do.
And offend. Say things that other people don't like, disagree with and find offensive. As long as they're not directly inciting violence or abuse, they've got the right to say things other people don't like. And this is the thing. I wonder whether this bill goes far enough, though, in terms of tackling cancel culture. Because while someone can say, well, I've got the right to say this, and if I've been invited not to be deplatformed, and the right to actually to sue for any costs. I mean, I'm unharmed. My view is actually I'm not sure there will be many financial costs, and therefore that's going to be a difficult one to prove. But crucially, what we see again and again and again is not people losing their job because of they've spoken out, although that absolutely does happen, and people who think it's only happening to big celebrities think again, it is absolutely happening. On a far wider scale, people are just feeling they need to just keep quiet. They can't say what their true views are. They can't speak out, whether it's about all the years of battling over Brexit, or whether or not they support limits on mass immigration, or whether they don't believe that the new trans orthodoxy is right. You believe in safe spaces for women, for instance. The people simply just self-edit, don't they? And they self-censor. Yeah. So how do you tackle that issue?
Well, I mean, I think what you need to do is to create a culture of free speech, something that's far more pervasive, where people don't feel this need to hide. And I think this bill is a very good starting point for doing that. Now, I mean, there's only so far the law can go. It can't make people value free speech if they don't already, but it opens the door so that universities can start becoming the sort of institutions they should be, that those who do value free speech can start making it happen. And I think you're absolutely right about the fact that there's a huge amount of this that goes under the radar. And that's something that's completely omitted by those people who say, there is no free speech crisis. It's all an invention. I'm sure you've heard these arguments, Julia.
Yeah.
It's all an invention of the Telegraph and the Daily Mail. Absolute nonsense. And that's an unserious position. We should not be, giving any time to this position. We have had at least 100 cases in our first year from universities. And as you say, it's not always celebrities. It's not always people who have platforms. A huge amount of the time, it's students, people who are really quite easy to push around a bit, to put them through, something not unlike a kangaroo process that can really adversely affect their education and their career prospects, and it's absolutely unfair.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People say it doesn't happen, but those are just the cases that have been brought to your attention. And again, people think it is happening just to the very rich, the very famous. But the only reason J.K. Rowling is still a world-renowned multimillionaire publisher, a writer, and hasn't been dropped by her publisher, is probably because she makes them so much money. We have seen again and again people losing their jobs writing. People, in famous positions, actors who said apparently the wrong thing, losing all their work. We saw what happened to Lawrence Fox, for goodness sake, when he said the most unbelievably reasonable things on Question Time and basically lost his acting career as a result, being cancelled there. And it's happening to really ordinary people in ordinary jobs just for posting what most people would regard as completely and utterly, just utterly reasonable, right-minded people thought. But again, even if someone is saying something that lots of people find offensive, in a free country, you are still allowed to do that.
Absolutely, and the danger is that when you start prohibiting offensive speech, you're also very likely to start prohibiting stuff that we do need to hear. There's no such thing as this sort of laser-like law that will only target malicious insults, sort of things that hurt people. Laws are always a bit imprecise. And when you start saying we can prohibit offensive stuff, you're also inevitably going to prohibit as well new ideas, controversial ideas, let's say a theory of evolution, something like that. So you need to have a broad freedom and liberty of speech, because otherwise it's going to be narrow and it's going to be boring as well. But I completely agree about J.K. Rowling. I thought it was fantastic when they went after it, because they targeted the one person in the world, one of the few people in the world who just can't be cancelled.
Yeah.
Which is rather silly of them.
Yeah, indeed.
Absolutely. Our members not in that position at all, and they're being pushed around.
Absolutely. Bryn Harris from the Free Speech Union, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much indeed.